they were focusing the revival on the possibility of introducing Bhikkhuni in the Tibetan tradition. And that was the first time that there were so many of us Theravada. Among them, there was Venerable Sujato and many of us Bhikkhunis. They were discussing about the possibility of introducing Bhikkhunis in Tibetan tradition, but it didn't happen. I'm sorry to report, it didn't happen even until now. But what happened, very interestingly, I would say, the side effect, no? Is that, what is the English word for side effect?
Indirect, maybe.
Indirect, yes, thank you, indirect. Indirectly, we the Theravada were benefiting from that, because Venerable Sujato, of course, Venerable Ajahn Brahmavangso, my big brother, actually organized the first ordination for Bhikkhuni in Australia in 2009. As a result, Ajahn Brahmavangso, Venerable Ajahn Brahmavangso was, how to say, expelled from the forest tradition, only that particular forest tradition. But of course his title as Xiao Kun, the title was given by the king, cannot be removed. You know, the title is still there, and he's still very much accepted by many of the Thai populations. That is a start, very interesting start in Australia. And then I met again Venerable Ajahn Brahmavangso in 2015 in Indonesia. We attended the same conference on the Sakyatida. I said that's the Sakyatida. You know, I was involved way back in 1987. You know, I was one of the co-founders. So as we were walking together, he was very polite, you know, and he mentioned one sentence that I remembered. He was telling me that we are on the right side of history. So that was a deep imprint in my mind. So in the year 2016, when we organized ASEAN Bhikkhuni conference in Thailand, so the second one, I invited Venerable Ajahn Brahm to come to Thailand to be a keynote speaker. And he asked me what would be the topic. I said, Venerable, let's do this. You know, we are on the right side of history. So that was a topic of his talk. You know, when he came to Thailand, I was very grateful, because actually at the same time he received another invitation by the Indian government, but he somehow chose to come to Thailand because he knew that the issue is still very, very sensitive, and only very few people would accept the invitation. So he flew in only for one day, you know, hardly even stay for a night, in order to give the opening speech for us. So I have to tell you that this is a very interesting example of Kalyanamitra. Venerable Ajahn Brahm is really our Kalyanamitra through the difficult time. I get so moved when I talk about this. Particularly during the difficult time, very few people would come forward, and Venerable Ajahn Brahmavangso is one who actually always stood up and stayed by our side to see that what we do is the correct one. What we do is introducing the ordination of women is what the Buddha had wanted from the very beginning. It was the Buddha's intention to have both men and women ordained, and to have both men and women to be part of the fourfold Buddhist communities, you know. So this was a long history between Australia and between me. The energy that Venerable Ajahn Brahm in Australia involved you all also. We also benefit, and we always feel connected. We always feel connected with our Australian Buddhists. So particularly in this time, when the world is so closely connected, you just sit in your bedroom and you can listen to Dharma talk, So the world is getting so small and we are all connected. And I feel, oh, Ranjani, oh, greetings, Ranjani. Ranjani was my
Support.
not supporter. She was the one who actually organized. Oh, Ranjani, Ranjani was the one who actually arranged for my ordination. So thank you, Ranjani, for being with us. So just give you an example of this Kalyanamitra. When you write letters, you always end with metta. With metta, this word metta actually has the root from the word mitra, which means friend. So when you end your letter with metta, you please be sure that the person whom you are writing to is your junior. This is what you call a Buddhist custom that we as Buddhists we should learn. When I write to Venerable Ajahn Brahma Vangso, I cannot end my letter with metta. That is not proper. It has to be with respect. 3 bows, So make sure that when you end with metta, be sure that the person who received your letter is your junior and not your senior, because it means friend to friend, or senior to the younger ones. When we spread out this metta, loving kindness, when we spread out metta to all sentient beings, that is the practice, spread out this metta to all sentient beings. That is not easily done, For 2 vasas, 2 rains, I gave training to Cambodian donchis, Cambodian nuns. Every day we would sit and meditate, and send out this loving kindness. Towards the end of the vasa, towards the end of the 3 months together, I asked them I have to say that each one of them, 5 of them, each one of them, either their husband, their sons, or their relatives in close family were killed in the killing field. So towards the end of the vasa, I asked them whether they can forgive. After having generated this loving kindness, metta, generating metta to all sentient beings, all of them said they cannot. They cannot forgive. They cannot forgive whoever that killed their husband, killed their sons. So to be able to spread metta need a high level of practice, that we really have to be serious with when we say we are sending out metta, because metta has to go to all sentient beings without condition. So this is easily spoken, but not easily done. So this is one point that I would like to share with you. For myself, sometimes I am able, but sometimes also not able because of the defilements within. So in order to really spread this vibration of metta, needs a deep practice, needs a sincere practice. So this is one point that I would like to share. And when we say to keep friends, you should have friends. You should have Kalyanamitra around you. To keep friends, to be friended with Kalyanamitra. There is a nice story in the sutra. The story about this Ghatikara. Ghatikara is he was a what? Changmo. Pottery. He was a potter. He was a potter. So and his friend's name is Jotipala. Jotipala seems to be from a higher caste. So one Patikara was very close to the Buddha. Not the Buddha that we know, the previous Buddha, and he would always go and make offering to the Buddha, very serious practitioner. And Ghatikara wanted his friend to come and visit the Buddha. But somehow this Jotipala, his friend, was not interested. So okay, we go for a bath, So they take the rope. In order to go to the bank of the river to take bath. Now you in this generation you would wonder why taking rope to take bath. They use the rope to scrub their body, to clean their body. So they go and take bath. They wash their hair. They really. Now, when Jotipala came up from taking bath, all clean, his hair was washed nicely. Again, Ghatikara, the potter, kept bugging, so to say, bugging Jotipala to go and see the Buddha. Jotipala didn't want to go. So Ghatikara, the potter, actually pulled him by his belt, by his vest. Still, Jotipala refused. So what happened? Ghatikara finally grabbed his hair, pull his hair like this. Now to touch someone by the head is something really serious, something that you don't do. And particularly, Jotipala seems to be of higher caste than the potter, than his friend. Now Jotipala realized that this must be something serious, Otherwise, Ghatikara would not have dared touch his head. So he said, okay, let go of my hair. I will follow you. So finally, Ghatikara led Jotipala to go and visit the Buddha. Jotipala, after having listened only the first sermon, he became so involved, and he did not ask only to take the refuge. To take the refuge meaning you become Buddhist. Not only taking refuge, but he also asked the Buddha that he would like to be enlightened, he would like to be ordained. So, Jotipala was ordained. Can you imagine? Jotipala was ordained, but Ghatikara, the potter, who was so devoted to the Buddha, could not yet be ordained because he had to take care of his parents. So the story was so beautiful, So Ghatikara now attend the Buddha, both the Buddha as well as Jotipala, who now already became a young monk. Now, when the Buddha told this story to Venerable Ananda, the Buddha told Ananda that Ananda, in that life, Jotipala was me. So now, in fact, this story of these two friends is actually a story of a very good Kalyanamitra. So you have the stories of Kalyanamitra both in the sutra as well as in real life. I have already given you two stories of Kalyanamitra. In my own relationship with my Kalyanamitra, I almost cried, when I talk about Venerable Ajahn Brahm, how he was devoted and how he was so sincere to follow the teaching of the Buddha and to pay respect. In order for him to pay respect to the Buddha, because the Buddha was the one who established the fourfold Buddhist. And it was the Buddha who established Bhikkhunis. So he as a bhikkhu, he as a brother, why shouldn't he be helping his sisters, So apart from being Kalyanamitra, he also followed the teaching of the Buddha very sincerely, very correctly. So like that, I would like to mention to you two stories of Kalyanamitra. And of course, your Metta Center, the connection that you came together is a connection of Kalyanamitra, is a connection of friends in Dharma. Some of us may be practicing less than others, seemingly. But like in the story that I told you, Jotipala did not want to come to the Buddha, but finally when Ghatikara forced him, eventually not only that he became Buddhist, he also became ordained, and he was very committed. So Kalyanamitra are friends who really sincerely stand by your side, guide you towards the path that the Buddha actually showed us. Yes. So I would stop at this point. That maybe Tina, is it Tina, who is going to lead us for this sharing session? Is it Tina? Otherwise, I will turn to Venerable Paripurna, that Venerable Paripurna can add in few words. Yes, please.
That was a very interesting story. I have heard from Venerable Dhammananda or Luang Mẹ. Still, in the present life, we have learned so much from the Tipitaka that Kalyanamitra. Kalyanamitra is very important for people, particularly the two sutta that I would like to mention here for the Buddhas in this Jotipala, right?
Jotipala, yes.
In this life. When Venerable Ananda came to the Buddha and told the Buddha that Kalyanamitra is that half of the brahmacharya or the way the monastic lead their life, and the Buddha said no. And then another sutta, Venerable Sariputta came to the Buddha and told the Buddha that Kalyanamitra is all of the brahmacharya, or those who lead the friend to end of suffering. And the Buddha explained to both Venerable Ananda and Venerable Sariputta that because the Buddha, he was Kalyanamitra of Venerable Ananda and Venerable Sariputta. That's why he can lead and can help these two Venerable to cultivate the Magga and end up suffering.
The Magga is the path.
The path.
Yes.
The Eightfold Noble Path. Yes. Now you can guess Ghatikara could possibly Venerable Ananda.
Yeah, yes. The potter could have been Ananda, but Jotipala was the Buddha. Do we have someone as moderator at least?
Yes, Venerable, can you hear me? Sorry, I thought I wanted to let you both finish first before I intervene.
Yes.
Thank you so much for sharing and those stories. It's really inspiring to hear the stories at the time of the Buddha with these examples of how important it is to have spiritual friends, and also in your real life journey about how these spiritual friends have come to your aid and supported your journey. And you're quite right to say in the Metta Centre, what we try to do is to build this spiritual friendship amongst all of us to support our Dhamma practice. So, Venerable, I would like to now open the floor to see if anyone has any questions. So, for those who are here at the Buddhist Centre, you've got some pieces of paper. You're welcome to write any questions and provide them to me. For those who are online, I invite you to write any questions that you have into the chat, and then I'll be able to moderate the session. And if there's no other questions, I'll moderate the session with another dialogue. So, Venerable, we heard today some examples of how important it is to have spiritual friendship. Can you share about ways in which we can build stronger spiritual friendship and community amongst friends, as well as within, say, for example, the Metta Centre and other Buddhist organisations?
In Buddhist texts there is a mention about the 4 qualities of Brahma, or it is called brahmavihara. Vihara means you reside. So if you practice these 4 qualities, metta is loving kindness, karuna is compassion, Mudita is more difficult to explain. You can feel the joy of others' success. And upeka is equanimity. Uh, when we explain, it seems very easy to practice. But in reality, it is in our life, to talk about mudita, just to give you an example. Two people working together. This year, the result of their work is exactly the same, but because the budget is only for one person, so only one person got promotion, not the other one. How can the other one feel mudita? How can the other one feel joyful for the raise or of the เงินเดือนว่าไง salary of the other person? In real life it happens like this. How can we feel joyful for others? You would be saying that, my gosh, we work the same thing, exactly same hours, the same quality of work. How come she gets the promotion and not me? You would be reacting like this. But in this particular quality of Brahma that we are talking about, we must be able to cultivate this mudita, this joy when others succeed. This mudita is one of the very easy, like punya. What is punya? Merit. It is very easy merit that you keep gaining because someone is doing something good. Oh, you have your heart is open and you feel so joyful for her, for them. This is mudita, and this kind of merit, you keep picking it from from the way that you go your house to your work. You keep picking up this good feeling all the way. You can feel joyful for someone's success, something so beautiful. Oh, so thankful. When you find somebody is very, very good person, you always feel joyful. This is mudita, that if we realize what it means, you can keep picking at this merit, keep picking it on a daily basis, and you become joyful. And when you are joyful for others' success, not being jealous, this joy keeps the person a joyful person. And a joyful person, when you reach out, you open your doors, welcoming your guest with your joyful face, that's already win-win situation. So when you practice this, so that you are always joyful with someone else's success. Then come the last one, upeka. Upeka is equanimity. When you try to help someone, you try so hard, but that person is not helping herself or himself. Finally, you have to remain equanimity, upeka. But what happened in society is that they don't practice the metta karuna, no loving kindness, no compassion, but they already say that they are upeka. We find this often in our society. In that sense, when you have not done anything to help at all, that is not called equanimity. That is not upeka. แต่เป็นความชาเย็นภาษาว่าไงชาเย็น
ignorance.
Not ignorance. Just cold, you're just cold-hearted. It's very cold-hearted. So these four qualities, if we can practice these four qualities, loving kindness, compassion, joy for others' success, and equanimity, if you can balance these four qualities, you can actually become Brahma. That's why it is called brahmavihara. You dwell as Brahma. You dwell in Brahma's quality. Don't have to wait until next life. You don't have to wait until you die and then you're born again in Brahma world. But actually, you can enjoy this quality here in the present moment.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Venerable. Venerable, is it okay if you just move the camera so that we can see you? Because right now we can only see your face. Thank you so much. Yes, that's so lovely. Thank you. That's very great.
Now you also see in the background, I have the white Tara to bless you.
Oh, wonderful. I feel so blessed. in her presence and in your presence as well.
Yes.
Venerable, I love that about the brahmaviharas. It's so important and so needed in this world. These qualities are things that we can practice on a day-to-day basis. So thank you so much for sharing. Venerable, we have a question. The question is this: there is research and news coverage claiming the Western world is in a loneliness crisis. How can Buddhism help connect people or help end loneliness? Thanks for the presentation. And that's a question from John.
Oh, yes, thank you. You know, I can speak from my own self, you know. I experienced this loneliness for more than 40 years before my ordination. Life seems to be floating. I was married, I had 3 sons, but still there were evenings when I was sitting there and feeling so lonely. And this loneliness, you know, this feeling of loneliness could be eating you up, literally could be eating you up. But after my ordination, I feel my life is fulfilled. I find a meaning in life, and I think I have not experienced that loneliness again. When you look out your window, you see the leaves, you feel connected with the leaves. The leaves are changing every day, you know. That small sapling here from my window, it's a teak tree outside my window, and the teak tree was only 1 meter tall. But now, after 7 years, maybe the teak tree is maybe 10 meters. So you see life around you and you feel joyful. You see this sapling coming up, you know, that sense of growth is very nourishing for our life. So feel connected with things around you. And this is a technique that I use to be able to overcome loneliness. So I would like to share with the person who actually raised the question. Look around yourself, allow nature, the mother nature around you to support you, and so that you can actually feel the connectedness. Because we don't feel the connectedness, you know, that's why we are lonely. But once when we realize this connectedness with the world around us, then that will help. That will truly help. So you will be reading the questions for me because I have difficulty to read the small letters. So Tina will help.
Okay. Yes, I can do that, Venerable. Thank you.
Yes.
And on that point, Venerable, about loneliness, as Buddhist practitioners, there are very often times when we will go on silent retreat or in isolation. So, and in those times, there is that time when we are in solitary practice. So would you say that there is a difference between aloneness and loneliness? So we may be alone, but we don't feel lonely.
Sure. Yes, very good point. Very good point. Alone is all one. You write down alone. Alone is all one here. You know, so when you're alone, not necessary that you have to feel lonely, because it's all in one sitting here, you know. But to realize that as we are sitting here, we are all connected. We are all connected. We are part of this bigger, how to say, the nature outside. In Buddhism, it is called Mahaphuta Dhatu, elements, the elements outside. And here, as I'm sitting here, I borrowed these 4 elements from the larger elements, and I have borrowed it for 78 years. And I may have to return soon. I may have to return these elements to the larger elements soon. So actually we are one, you know. So taking care of the elements outside and taking care of myself is connected. So we also have to take care of the trash. We also have to take care of the garbage. So here we have a sign put out that bring your trash to make merit. So that when you start taking care of the trash, you feel connected and you try your best not to burden this Mother Earth with more trash. So we try to bring trash, recycle in order for us to lessen the trash. And this is in the text, you know, in the text when by that time, Venerable, the Buddha already passed away, and Venerable Ananda was visiting one city. Sorry, I cannot recall the city, but the queen was so impressed, so she brought 500 jivara, the robe, to offer to Venerable Ananda. The king was not happy. The king was not happy that he was criticizing his queen, that she overdid it. So when the king had time with Venerable Ananda, asked Venerable Ananda, what would you do with these 500 robes, So Venerable Ananda told him in detail that he would be distributing to the monks far away. They don't have robes, their robes are torn. So, and then afterward, then what? What happened to the robe, when the robe gets old, become old? Then Venerable Ananda said, then he will use it to cover the ceiling. Then the king really digged, so to say, dig further. Then what happened after that? What do you do? Oh, then after it's already old, this ceiling, the cover on the ceiling is old. Then I would be using it as cleaning the table, cleaning the floor. Then what do you do after that when the robes when that piece of cloth gets even older? So Venerable Ananda said, well, in that case, it become already rags, shredded. We would pound it and mix it with clay to make the floor, of the residence for the monks. So the king was so impressed. This is an idea of recycle. See? The idea of recycle from the Buddha's time. So the king was so impressed that the next day he brought and offered another 500 robes to Venerable Ananda. So this is connecting with nature in our practice, in our daily life. So try to make zero waste, then you will forget about being lonely.
Thank you so much for that.
So many things, that we can do to really nurture our mother nature.
And it's also a way of appreciating and being grateful for everything that we have, and grateful for Mother Nature when we make the most of what we have, rather than just having something and throwing it away. And Venerable, we have another question. So the message in question is this: thanks, Venerable, for the sharing. How important is it to have our wife or husband also practice Buddhism, Dharma, meditation? Is it okay if just one partner practices and still have the relationship, marriage, blossom, mature, i.e. without forcing it? But of course, we would like to have our partner to also follow the Dhamma.
It is possible. It is possible that the other person may not be interested in Buddhism at all. But if you are truly practicing Buddhism, you're following the teaching of the Buddha, slowly your partner will notice, oh my girlfriend, my boyfriend is really improving, is really changing. So we are what you call change agent. The true Buddhist should be change agent, so that the one who is living closest to you could feel that you are changing, you are improving. And of course, if we are true Buddhists, we will keep respect the relationship and keep the relationship to flourish. We ourselves make ourselves happy, and we also care to make our partner happy. So I think eventually, if you are truly practicing and your partner is not so bad after all, he or she should be able to notice that there is something in what she practices that really she is improving. So I better pay attention. What kind of book she read? Let me read also. It starts like that. Yeah. And also when we practice, we as a Buddhist, we should also know why we do that. Often we don't turn our partners to be interested in what we do, because when we practice, we also cannot explain why you do that. Once you start, you yourself become a good change agent, truly practice, the teaching and know and be able to explain to another person who is not a Buddhist at all. I think eventually he or she will come along the path and be happy couple.
Thank you so much, Venerable. And in terms of what we were talking about, Kalyanamitra, can we bring that into our marriage, with our partners, with our, so not just friends, but also with our wife or husband?
Yeah. I think it's not talking about can. We should. It's very important, very important that the closest person to us is the person whom we practice the teaching of the Buddha. Towards the end of the year, we have a ceremony here. I arrange for couples to be able to come. It's on 31st of December, just the end of the year before you cross over to the new year. I organize a ceremony, confession ceremony, and as in Theravada we don't have anything for them to focus their attention, so I invite the confessing Buddhas from the Tibetan tradition. They have 35 or 36 confessing Buddhas to listen to you and to be with you. This is the time, we provide the space for husband and wife to be able to see within themselves and see what is it that you would like to tell your husband or to tell your wife. Number one, how grateful you are to her, how grateful you are to him. You usually don't say that, for some reason. Many of the couples don't say that. Just take it for granted. And then what you have transgressed. The person whom you transgress most is the one whom you live with. Yes, the one whom you live with is the one you transgress most. So this is a time that I provided a space for husband and wife to meditate, look within themselves, say sorry. Usually it is the wife, who would go and bow to the husband. And now this time we also see the husband bow to the wife, asking for forgiveness for that event that he really hurt her. Like, it happens to us all, because we live together and we take it for granted. The other person may have done something wrong. Say, the wrong he made a mistake maybe 30%, but the scolding that he got from you is 70%. The 70%, the extra 70%, you have to be responsible. You have to be responsible. So like this, when we truly look in each one of us, we do care for our husband, for our wife, for our partners. We do care, otherwise you wouldn't be with him or with her. And this is a time that we ask for forgiveness and strengthen the relationship by telling him or telling her what is the best that you like most in him. This is a time that you do tell, you do, how to say, honor each other. But of course, it is not something that you do every day. So at least once in a year, they come to the temple and we provide the space for them to say, and it's very beautiful, very beautiful setting. Many of them, both husband and wife, many of them would be weeping, crying, and to really get in touch with them in that soft corner, soft spot in your heart, no matter how manly you may look, you do have that soft spot. And God made the tear for you. It's time for you to cry also, even though you're a man.
That sounds like, sorry, Ben, we'll go on.
Yeah.
Sorry, I interrupted you. Please go on.
That's fine, yes.
That sounds like such a moving ceremony, Venerable. I've heard that sometimes, and I've also participated in some of these ceremonies for parents. So is it the same with parents that we could also bring our and have our parents as Kalyanamitras, or have those qualities that we can extend to our parents?
แต่ไม่รู้คำถามว่าไงนะ
เขาเพิ่มเข้ามาว่าเราจะอยู่กับพ่อแม่คือ
Yes, yes. Kalyanamitra does not mean only, to only friends, Kalyanamitra could be anyone, to your parents. I just recall this one daughter and mother. The mother is already must be in her 80s, but the mother was concerned when the daughter came to visit. Mother was concerned only the money that the daughter brought and give her. So the daughter is very concerned how she can help her mother to overcome this, attachment of money. She feels safe. She feels safe to have money. So when the daughter comes, always 3,000, 5,000, and she feels happy with that kind of gift. This is when a person seeks ความปลอดภัย security. When sometimes we seek security from outside like money. When you have your account, you have good figure in your account, you feel safe like that. There are people like that. So yes, Kalyanamitra is this daughter is trying to bring her mother to the temple so that the mother could start changing the way of thinking, that attachment, to be able to open her heart to have the space, to be able to receive the teaching of the Buddha, and to realize that in fact, there is much greater things to look for, not only the money that the daughter will give, So Kalyanamitra also is needed, particularly in any kind of relationship, I think. Kalyanamitra, the one who leads you to better life, the one who leads you, the one who guides you when you are in difficult time. Maybe, oh, I must tell you this story. My dog, my Kalyanamitra was my dog. I have this black dog. Her grandmother is a Rottweiler. So you can imagine what kind of dog I have. And she's just a stray from another temple. So one day, I was feeling very, very ill, physically ill. And I look around and I saw her. Her name is Manao. Manao means lemon. I saw this lemon. Lemon was sitting there so, how to say, so like, with great attachment, she was looking in my eyes, and when I looked at her, I felt so good that she gave me the friendship. She gave me that moment. I needed someone. At that time, I really needed someone to be with me, but there was no one. To be the abbess or to be the abbot is not easy. Nobody gets near you. I had this dog looking at me, and when I look in her eyes, I felt so grateful for her companionship. And then I started to cry, I just felt grateful for this dog. And you know what she did? She climbed up and she started licking my tears.
Oh.
So that is Kalyanamitra. At that moment, I really I was grateful to receive this Kalyanamitra from my dog.
Thank you, Venerable. Such a beautiful story. All sentient beings, it seems, that we can see this in. Venerable, earlier we were talking about connecting with nature and connecting with our surroundings, like you talked about the example of the tree outside your room. So the question that we have from this person is, how do you connect with your surroundings? This person tries to meditate and practice mindfulness, but I still feel like it's very hard to be present and to feel connected. Thank you.
Yes. When we do the breathing, here, see how many of us in this room now. Let me see how many of you are here.
We've got 25 people
25.
online, and we've got maybe about 10 or so.
Even though you are in Australia, I am in Thailand, but we are taking this, we are breathing, and all of us are breathing the same mass of air. Now, do you feel connected? So I must be responsible for you. You know, I must be responsible for you. So when I take in my breath to nourish myself, and when I breathe out, so now I'm directing my breathing out of caring to Sophia, to Zen, to Bill, to Gita, you know, to all the friends who are in this room. Like that, suddenly my breathing is connected. John, Ranjani, Simon, you know, like we are how we are connected, how we could be connected immediately with this breathing. So that is so wonderful, so wonderful. So I must be more careful with my breathing, that I breathe out to nourish myself. And when I breathe in, I nourish myself. And when I breathe out, I think of you, I see your face. I must be wishing you well in my breathing out. And that is how we are connected. You see how we are connected? We are connected right here, even though you are so far away. Yes. So
Yes.
that is with the breathing. You call it meditation. I call it my breathing, and my breathing is your breathing. Yes. So we have to be careful. We have to be careful with our breathing, because it's going to affect others. You know, if I come into the screen and my face I look very grouchy. All of you, 25 of you, you will be grouchy. Seeing a person talking to you with so serious face, you know, already you have that, you feel tight. In your heart you feel tight, muscle is tight. So in our breathing we are connected, and with our breathing we can send this loving kindness, this metta to our metta center, you know, to all the members in metta center.
Thank you, Venerable. I can't imagine you grouchy though. Venerable, we have another question, and we've got a few questions about Bhikkhuni ordination. So this person's message in question is this: many small interviews on ABC foreign correspondent. In Thailand, many have not been supportive of women bhikkhuni, fully ordained women. Is acceptance happening there over time? Is the situation improving for women?
This allowed me to yet give you another story. No, not another story, another event. This year, you know, they are celebrating, my students, they are celebrating that I'm completing my being fully ordained 20 vasas, 20 reigns, you know. So for the whole year, they organize this dialogue through the screen, online dialogue, twice a month. Can you imagine, twice a month? And it's 2 hours long. So we continue giving education to Thai audience. And those who came into view, you know, to view the online session, last time was 2,000. So each time when we have this dialogue, it's about 2,000 who came in to view. So this is how we try to reach out, try to give them information, all the positive activities that we do, not only in Thailand, not only in my life, but also in other aramas. So by the end of the year, we would have this 24 sessions of dialogue. And it is on YouTube, you know. Sorry, it is in Thai, but at least you can view the photos. And we also have photo contest. The theme of the photo contest is women, Buddhism, religion at new normal. And of course, they have prize, no? They have prize for 50,000 baht for the first prize, 30,000 baht for the second prize, like that, you know. And then these photos will be exhibit. They will have exhibition in the art gallery, National Art Gallery in Bangkok. And last but not the least, on December 11th, we are going to organize what is
Public
it?
dialogue.
Huh?
Public dialogue.
Public dialogue. Thank you. She's giving me the English words. I forget. Public English. Public dialogues. Public dialogues. And Her Excellency, the Ambassador of Sri Lanka, accepted the invitation. So she will be giving opening speech at this particular event. And it is to celebrate and also to mark that we are stepping into the third decade of the Bhikkhuni in Thailand. So yes, now when we go out, we don't get much. They don't look at us anymore. It is common. It is not like the first year when I came back. Everyone will be turning their head, looking at me. And you go to toilet, you go to public toilet, they will be criticizing you outside. That does not happen anymore. So they are kind of accepting. But you should come and see when we go out for alms round. People were so happy. People are so happy to offer food into the bowl, and for the first time they are offering to the Bhikkhunis. And nearby we have this factory, and there are lots of Burmese workers, and these Burmese, they also practice Theravada tradition. So they are very happy to have the Bhikkhunis to come and receive alms from them. So I think, after 20 years in Thai society, it's much better, much better.
That's so beautiful to hear, Venerable, and so happy to hear that things are improving over there in Thailand. And that's with so much gratitude to yourself and all those who've been involved to make that happen. So thank you. Venerable, the next question we have is this. Thank you, Venerable. It's admirable that you're working to re-establish the Theravada Bhikkhuni lineage. How did you come to the decision to work on this, knowing that it is not going to be an easy path?
Well, if it is easy path, then it's no fun. No, it is with complete faith in the Buddha. Complete faith in the Buddha. The Buddha was the one who established the Bhikkhuni ordination, the Bhikkhuni lineage. We, paying respect to the Buddha, we have to express by establishing or re-establishing what he had started for us. That is the true way of paying respect to the Buddha. This is how the way I stand, as my background is academic. So I had at least 20 years of research on the Bhikkhunis, and it's about time that I should commit myself. I have to mention to you, there's this one particular conference that actually forced me to change my way of thinking. I was not committed. Even as academic, I was not committed, but I was invited by Harvard University, and the theme of the conference was Women, Religion, and Social Changes. I met many feminists from international gathering, and they forced me to think. It was really hard to say. You really feel it in your heart. If you are academic and if you have all the information, but if you're not doing anything to bring about social changes, those information, those knowledge would just go for waste. That is a shame. So that was the time when I really start thinking about ordination and how to get things moving for the women in my country.
So inspirational. Thank you so much, Venerable. The next question that we have is coming back to the topic of spiritual friendship. And this person's question is this: do you have any tips for making a new spiritual friendship or relationship? As in any practical examples of what we should do? For example, start sharing how we're feeling, etc.
I feel myself, from myself, we talk less, we speak less, any kind of what you call conflict or any kind of unhappiness that you might have, you don't talk about it. Or when you start talking about it, you start fighting. So is it possible with our Buddhist practice so that we ourselves, first we have to be calm, to be able to listen to other person's viewpoint. And this person, particularly in family, husband and wife, or how to say, partners, just very difficult to listen to him or to her. How to say? With neutral mind. So we need practice. We need through practice, to be able to, for us, to be anchored. We have to be spiritually anchored in order to start talking, in order to start opening our mouth, in order to start opening our ears, to truly listen to the other partner. We don't listen, we always have that judgmental attitude, as soon as he opens his mouth, you already shout back at him, please stop talking, like that, So truly, the true practice is needed here, and unless we ourselves, we have this practice of listening, how to say, deep listening. It is called deep listening. Deep listening is when you are able to sit and listen to this person telling you about how he feels. Can you really listen to how he feels? Allow him to speak from the depth of his self. Like that. So this is we practice this for healing purpose. Like when people who come to us when they want help, sometimes they just, I don't have to say a word. I just need to be with this person 100%, completely 100%, dedicate my time to this, to listen to this particular person, maybe only for 15 minutes, only for half an hour. It actually helps. It actually heals the person, because all the time, very seldom you get anyone to truly hear your problem.
That's so beautiful. Thank you so much, Venerable. I think what you've touched on in terms of deep listening and coupled with right speech is really important for relationships. Thank you. Venerable, we have a question from someone who says, who asks, how do we balance Kalyanamitra with attachment and craving for Kalyanamitra?
This I have written down somewhere here. Love is the Pali word is piya or pema. Piya is love, but this kind of love, that person must belong to me. There is ownership in that relationship. So we have to move this love, this piya, to the level of metta. Metta would be this loving kindness is for all sentient beings. If it is for all sentient beings, it goes also for your enemy. Can you spread this loving kindness also to your enemy? Only then it can be truly metta. You see that we really need to be truthful in our practice. So this Kalyanamitra, on both sides, whether he is your Kalyanamitra or you are his Kalyanamitra, we have to go beyond this ownership. So when there is no ownership, then it is then you will not ask about craving for Kalyanamitra.
Thank you, Venerable. So no ownership, also no differentiation or distinction between liking or disliking someone, going beyond that judgment.
Go beyond judgment.
Go beyond
Judgment?
Yes, our own judgment,
And then for another question, Venerable, can you share who you consider to be your teachers and how they inspire you?
Oh, the Buddha. The Buddha is my greatest teacher, And then I see this Kalyanamitra, or I see the teachers in different people, not necessarily this person or that person, I see my teacher appears, like just now I was telling you about my dog. And at that time, she was my teacher. Yes, so this... I look at the action which is expressed at different time by different people. That is really truly my practice. One time when I was ordained only as a samaneri, I was walking in this big temple. Suddenly I saw this weed. The flower is flowering, and I look at this tiny, tiny flower on the path that I walk every day, but I never noticed her. But that day I noticed her. Oh, how beautiful. You know, so I greeted this flower, this little one, the weed on the ground. Oh, I'm sorry. I walked every day, but I never noticed you. Today I noticed you. Thank you so much for being so beautiful, for being you, for being you. You know, so when you start looking at things around you like this, everything is teaching you. Everything is teaching you, you know, to be mindful of the teaching of the Buddha. So we are born. We are born as human beings. Oh, congratulations to all of you. To all of you, to be born as human being is not easy. It's not easy, you know. There is a story which compare the difficulty of us to be born as a human being. It is like a blind turtle. A blind turtle is in this big sea, you know, and this blind turtle comes up to the surface only once in 100 years. And there is a little loop floating. And this turtle must put his head through this loop. Do you see how difficult that is? So that is compared to the difficulty for us to be born human being. See, so we are born already as human being. How lucky! And now we also have the Buddha. We are born in the Buddha's time, and we are born with Kalyanamitra around us. We are born with this Metta Center organizing something so nice. You know, how lucky we are. And now, why should you postpone? Why should we postpone Nibbana? You know, Nibbana is a stage of freedom, truly spiritual freedom. How come we keep postponing? You know, and then sometimes we say Nibbana Pacayo Hotu. Now, whatever you do, may this be the cause of nirvana. May this be the cause of nibbana. And sometimes they say that may we arrive at nibbana in the future. Why not this life? We are born into human being, which is so difficult. We are born in this Buddha's time, Buddha's realm. This พระพุทธเจ้าองค์นี้ชื่ออะไรนะ Kotama, this Sakaya Muni, Kotama Buddha. We are born into his time. What's wrong? Why are we praying that we are born with the future Buddha? Yeah, so I'm telling you the story of how Thai people, some of the Thai people would do. They would pray that they would be reborn again in the future Buddha's time. Possibly you might be born in the future Buddha's time, but what happens if you will be born as a dog? So we lose the possibility for us to be enlightened. We must be in this form, this human form, to be able to be enlightened. Not Deva, not the spiritual gods, you know, not animals, but we must be born human being, and in this human being's form that we can be enlightened. Isn't that interesting? Yes. So we have to strive. We have to strive in this life to free ourselves from the bondage which caused so much suffering. It is possible. It is possible, and the Buddha already showed us the way. He was just human being like us. Yes. So when we realize in this way, you know, then we become how to say, the way you look at the world is different. The way you look at life is different. The way you have this intention to do in your life, what you want to do in your life, start to change. Yes, start to change, and life becomes meaningful.
Thank you very much, Venerable. That's so motivational. So everyone, we can do it in this life. Venerable, the next part, we have one more question, but it's only short. And then what I would like to do is move into a discussion. So we often do this. We pose a question to the group for everyone to think about their own practice. And for those online, please just type your answer into the chat. And for those who are here in person at the Metta Centre, just write it onto the pieces of paper and drop them to me. So the discussion question is, what are some challenges that you have in developing and maintaining Kalyanamitra friendships or qualities such as the brahmaviharas in your life? And so just type that through and or write that through and pass that over. While that's happening, Venerable, we have one question. And I do thank you, Venerable, for being so patient and sharing your wisdom to answer these questions. It's been an hour and we really just am so appreciative. So the last question that we have so far is this. Venerable, are there opportunities for overseas lay persons and lay women to practice at your monastery? Can you share a normal day at the monastery and what people can expect?
Sure. Yes, they do. You know, right now we have one American student with a Fulbright scholarship. She's staying with us, and we have international, you know, people who come to us. At least they speak English, or at least they speak Thai, because I don't speak any other language.
And what would a normal day at the monastery be like, Venerable?
Come and experience it.
Come and see. Come and see, huh?
on twice a week we take them for arms round, you know. So this is something that the foreigners really like it, because they get to experience, get to see real lifestyle of the neighborhood, just the local people. And the local people here, they are so used to cameras. They are used to cameras, so they are very happy every time when I take them out. So this is one of the experiences that they like it very much. And next week will be vegetarian week. So we have yet another group, you know, vegetarian group from United States. Usually they come and visit on a yearly basis. Except COVID. During COVID, we were so quiet. And very nice story, you know, during COVID. So we also closed the gate, you know. But the people, the neighbor, they were so worried that we wouldn't have anything to eat. Sometimes, you know, they would bring food in plastic bag and they hang it on the gate for us. So we are well taken care of. And yes, monastic setting, monastic life is something that lay people love to come and experience. At least, you know, they get to know what kind of lifestyle we lead. We are what you call engaged Buddhist. So do engage with us.
Very good, thank you. So Metta Centre friends, if you want to go and visit the monastery, there's your invitation. So Venerable, the discussion question, we've got some answers. So if it's okay, I will share what people's answers are, because this is good. They reflect on their own practice. And if you could share your advice, that would be so appreciative. So just to remind everyone, the question was what kind of challenges we have in relation to developing Kalyanamitra friendships and qualities. So the first one comes from John. Beautiful message and question for you, Venerable. So this person struggles to prioritise and find that this person spends too much time on work. So he wants to spend more time on my spiritual friends, which is why it's so lovely to be here. And John, it's always lovely to have you join us as well. Yeah, so Venerable, what to do when there is so much time that's spent on work and other commitments?
Sometimes, you know, we also spend too much time with our mobile phone.
Okay, well, there, John, you've got your answer. Come here more often. Venerable, the next one is this. A challenge for me would be spending enough or more time to connect and reconnect with friends, good friends in my life. With life's ups and downs, challenges and problems, these have been my focus. but I hope to spend more time with my friends, including those I consider as kalyanamitras. Same applies in developing qualities such as brahmaviharas. So, Venerable, it seems like something that has come up now by these two people is not having enough time to connect and reconnect with friends. Any advice about this?
Oh, you have time to take a good breathing. Breathing is a connection with you and the rest of the world. And so, you know, when you get to the point in life, you will realize that the hours you put in for your work, you need to be able to divide your time so that maybe you're not necessary that you need to be connected to your Kalyanamitra, but for yourself to have time to be with yourself. With the practice, you know, with the practice to be able to breathe in and breathe out properly, to be able to look out the window and enjoy the scenery, to be able to say thanks to the sky, say thanks to the moon. And you know, for the first time we did have this ceremony of greeting to the moon. You know, last week, was it last week? Not last week, you know, the full moon. The Chinese in my country, they have this ceremony of paying respect to the moon. And we did that for the first time. I just felt good. I just felt connected to say hello to the moon, you know. So like that, you know, in and around us, there is so beautiful energy. And these energies, we could connect and we could revive the energy with nature around you. And that is something interesting. And yes, talking about Kalyanamitra, I think, you know, when the higher purpose in life is clear, then you start having friends and you start having this group of Kalyanamitra who actually share with you the same goal in life.
And Venerable, the next one is this. When we listen deeply, how do we balance regulating our emotions and building a pool of calm and deep listening to others, which sometimes can be draining or even destabilizing?
ว่ายังไงนะไป deep listening แล้วบางทีตัวเองก็มี emotion ก็ไม่ destabilize.
So this deep listening, you know, it comes with serious practice. You have to raise from, in meditation practice, you have samatha. You have samatha. Samatha is what in English? Concentration. And you have another level is vipassana is insight meditation. You have to be able to reach the vipassana level, the insight meditation level, so that you are able to handle the problem that you have. Yes. So you need to have a teacher who guide you through this meditation. And once you practice this insight meditation, you practice vipassana, that it cuts through all the other problem that we need to anchor ourselves.
Thank you, Venerable. The next challenge for this person is this. I find it hard to make new spiritual friendships and relationships with others because I don't trust that others will treat me with the same loving kindness that I show them. Any advice for this person?
What did you expect? You don't have to expect. You don't have to expect, you know, because expect always is like bargaining. You know, when you are truly good, you are yourself Kalyanamitra to him or to her. You don't expect the other person in return.
So offering our friendship unconditionally.
But then, of course, you know, in the practice, you also have to have panya, the wisdom, you know, to be able to guide you. Sometimes the other person may not be responding in the sense of understanding the quality of friendship. That Kalyanamitra is a quality of friendship which is different from other kind of friendship. If the other person does not understand, then you also have panya to be able to say where you should stop, you know, where you should really talk so that the other person, the other party understands better.
Mm. And would that be the case too if this person is afraid of getting hurt, for example?
Mhm.
Could you repeat again?
So, for example, this person, if they don't trust because they are afraid that they may get hurt in relationships.
When you give, whatever you give, you give. You truly give, you know. So when you give, you don't expect. How can you get hurt? You know, some people always want to receive. I said, if you want to receive, then you have to wait for a long time. But if you are the one who give, then you don't have to wait. Yeah. So
That's
simple, no? I always talk about very simple things.
Simple but straight to the point, Venerable. I really like it. And that may answer the next one as well, but if you have any additional advice, let me know. So this person says, the challenge that this person has is finding it difficult not to be selfish and only think about him or herself and only talk about your problems in friendships or relationships.
You know, you could be a boring person if you always talk about your problems. So be kind to the other person. Be kind to the other person also, you know. So I mean, the other person is not a trash can, you know. So this is a practice, you know. This is truly a practice that sometimes you just take it for granted, you know. When you come home, you have all kind of grumbles, you know, to tell your husband, and your husband is like a big trash can for you, emotional trash can. That's so sorry for him.
That may be related to the next one too. This person says, I sometimes get obsessed with my own problems and don't give my friendships and relationships 100% of my attention. Any advice?
Not very sure of the angle of the question.
So I think the people here at the Metta Center are very honest with you, Venerable. So they're telling you what their main problem is. And this person feels that they are sometimes obsessed with their own problems and don't give their friendships or relationships 100% of their attention.
How this person has to, I just think of this water in a glass, you know. You need to settle down, you know, sit down. You need to sit down so that it gets settled. When yourself get a little bit settled, the residue in the water gets settled, then you can see the problems. You know, when you have the problems, not all the time that you are talking or you are telling your Kalyanamitra. Maybe sometimes it works, you know, as Kalyanamitra, you are a second person looking into the problems of your friend, but sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes we ourselves, we have to be anchored. We have to settle things, you know, so that we can see and we can start noticing what are the problems in this particular context. Both ways, you know. Sometimes it is good to tell your Kalyanamitra, and your Kalyanamitra, being a second person, can look into the issues, into the problems for you. But sometimes you yourself have to look into. It takes time, you know. It does not happen immediately, but you need to step outside and look into the problems as though you are looking at somebody else's problem. That may help.
Great answer. Thank you, Venerable. Final one, last one. Thank you for your talk, Venerable. My challenge is connecting with new people. Any advice about that?
You know, when someone comes in the group, it is the bigger group who are already familiar with each other. You know, you are the one to actually introduce things introduce your group to this newcomer. You know, it is the problem here also. I have problem with my students here, because when they come, they meet their old friends, you know, so they gang together and they completely forget about the new one who just joined the group, you know. So I always tell them that it is your duty to be the host, you know, to try to make the new one familiar with what you are doing. I think it is our responsibility, and it is our practice, that when you start really practicing, you will be feeling the energy from outside, and you can actually reach out to help the newcomers.
Thank you so much, Venerable. I really appreciate you answering all our questions and also all the comments that have come through. Beautiful session and talk. Thank you again. And for all of the people who are here, you are very much invited to the Metta Centre Friends group. This is coming here for these Wednesday sessions, but also we have a WhatsApp group as well. So if you want to keep in contact, there's different ways for us to hang out. So Venerable, thank you again. I'm going to pass the mic over to Sophia now, who'll be ending the session.
Thank you, Venerable, for such a thought-provoking and inspiring session. I hope I speak on behalf of everyone. I don't hope to speak on behalf of everyone, but at least for myself, I felt inspired and I felt like I learnt a lot about what Kalyanamitra is and how do we build and deepen our friendships, which is such an important part of the path. And also thank you for sharing your personal stories on how you have benefited or contributed to your spiritual friendships too, and devotion to the Buddha. Yeah, what a wonderful session this is. I hope, you know, everything works out and become better in establishing the, you know, Bhikkhuni order in Thailand, and all the best in that endeavor as well. Before we close out, would you like to do a dedication of merits for all of us, or a prayer blessing, whichever that you prefer?
I thought you should be blessing me. Okay. Sapitiyo vivachantu saparoko vinatsatu mate pavat vantarayo sukhiti kayuko bhava kanasilit sanitang buddha pajayino jataro dhamma vatanti ayuvanno sukhang palang. May all of you enjoy the four qualities of life. You have good health. You have wana. Wana means complexion. It does not mean you have good complexion. You have good complexion because you have good health. And you have pala. You have the energy to continue with the Metta Center, bringing more new friends, so that this connection of Kalyanamitra is spread out wider in a wider group. I really believe that it is through Kalyanamitra web that you can actually build a new society, a happier society. So thank you everyone. Venerable Pandit, sadhu, sadhu. I pay respect to Venerable Pandit.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you. And before we leave, we've got some quick announcements. Next week, next Wednesday, Rod Lee will be giving a talk on a Buddhist view for building resilience in a changing world. Our ongoing Metta Center talks will be both in person and online. And yes, as Tina mentioned, we have a WhatsApp group. You can also follow us on Facebook and Instagram. And if you'd like to make a donation, please feel free to do so too. Yeah, thank you, Venerables. Thank you everyone for coming. So lovely to have spiritual friends like you in our lives. Goodbye, good evening.
Thank you. Bye everyone. Thank you. Thanks so much, Venerable.
Thank you so much.